From this moment on, you will now be known as Sharkbait.
Sharkbait! Ooh-ha-ha!
Welcome, brother Sharkbait.
Sharkbait! Ooh-ha-ha!
Enough with the Sharkbait.
Sharkbait! Ooh! Well.
Happy Sunday, everybody. This is D from Brooklyn. What's up, everybody? I've been on vacation and racing and running, but I found the time to give you guys another Sunday swim. Thank you, those of you that have been great subscribers and commenting, and thank you also to the quite a bit of you that have turned out to the Brooklyn Aquarium Society auction and meeting, where our presentation touched upon a lot of subjects, both fresh and saltwater. I also want to thank the kids. A lot of the young guys turned out, man. We had a good time. Sorry I didn't have more time to spend with you guys, but I'm also going to have a special surprise for you guys at the next meeting. Going to have some things to give out to my young Aquarius out there. We love to propagate you guys into the hobby and make sure that you guys do well and succeed. So it's always good to see you guys show up in person, you know, to the meetings, because of course that is the future of our hobby, man. I like to see some videos from you guys. If you have a minute, stop. We're gonna do some shout outs maybe at the door, gonna make some time. But that being said, let's take a look at the tank here. I'm down in the basement at the Frag tank. Well, you'll notice I have my coho tang in there that's been running around. He's just hanging out in this tank until I get the cube drilled and ready for them to all move to the new system. You'll also notice that it is much emptier than it used to be. I took out the Kenya trees, which were spreading like crazy. I gave a lot of it away. I donated it to a few guys. I moved some up to the main tank because it was just too big for a system this small. I may decide to put it in the cube, but once again, I'm focusing on more delicate species. You'll take a look at the frog spawn here, which took a big hit. According to the last video, it took a big hit. It's doing well. It's coming back. The heads are opening up a little more. Let me move a little closer. And it's looking good. You'll notice the algae is gone. Thanks a lot to my coho tang and to my black urchin, which are the best cleanup crew that you could ever ask for. Of course, my coho and my tomato, they get into a few squabbles because she used to be the boss of the tank, and they just goof around a lot, you know. Also, my giant Mexican snails here, oh, they are huge, and I love these guys. If you ever get the opportunity to pick up these giant Mexican turbo snails, definitely do, because they are also very, very excellent at cleaning algae, and well, I'm gonna say cleaning it, but eating and consuming that unwanted algae. So that being said, the tank has come back quite a bit. The Xenia, for the most part, the pulsing Xenia is no longer there. I have some waving hand long tentacle Xenia that I'll probably keep, only because I'm going to move that rock to the new cube. So I'm kind of prepping this system for what I'm going to move to the new system and when I'm not going to move. A lot of the pallies are here. I have quite a few of the zoas that I wanted to keep. I have quite a few pieces of chalice, thanks to Steve. The guy is really good at growing corals. He has a magnificent system. I do want to get a chance to do a SIG, you know, an in-house visit and shoot some video of Steve's tank, because he has great system in his house. Pavona is growing magnificently. It made a magnificent comeback. Let's take a look at this here. That took a big hit when the tank was going through its little crash phase. Came back with a vengeance. If you look at this piece where I keep by my overflow, it's grown by leaps and bounds. I actually had to break a few pieces off because it was touching that rock, and it's looking really good, man. So kudos to the bounce back. It's just a testament and patience. You gotta have patience in this hobby, and when things look at its worst, when things look their worst, you can't panic, because it's just part of the hobby. Things are always going to happen that you don't expect, and it's just a learning tool. Point in question, my sea urchin loves, and actually I'll take a shot of him now, he loves to move stuff because he just climbs over it and moves the hell out of it. If you got any delicate pieces like the chalices or anything like that, you want to definitely make sure that they're glued down, because as you can see, this guy moves very fast and he crawls over anything. His sheer weight will move things, but he's a really interesting creature to have. Also magnificent at consuming algae, but you must feed these guys. They do eat like any other creature. You can't rely on plain algae laying around for them to eat. I do direct feed him. Once in a while he'll take mysis shrimp. I didn't know to eat mysis shrimp until I gave him some and he ate it. But the algae sheets or nori, these guys, if you clip it to a rock or something on the bottom, they'll go right over it and help themselves. As you can see, I have a piece of chalice down there, pink Monty, actually, not pink Monty. It was on that rock. He's moved that rock where it's literally leaning against the wall, and I leave it there because that seems to be his point of passage when he moves around the tank. So I leave it in that area. My frag plugs themselves, I had to slap a little bit of glue, not a lot where I can't move it, but a little bit of glue so that he can't move them around and make a mess of the tank. But this guy, definitely very interesting to watch. I love seeing the fish bump into him because it's awesome. Like, the clown will always bump into him and it's like, come on dummy, don't you know he's pointy? But it's really fun to watch, and the tank's coming back nicely. I'm kind of keeping it clean and aired out because, once again, I'm going to take all of this down and make room for the cube. And I'm actually wondering about this cabinet that it's actually on. This cabinet, can't really see it. It's old as hell. The cabinet was actually in the house when we bought it. And I only kept it because it has file drawers and it has this wonderful door that I love so much, which is perfect for doing my frag cuttings and holding all my frag tools and chemicals and things like that. But I'm really wondering whether or not I'm gonna put the new cube on this counter or put something else. I've stabilized it because I've actually mounted this unit to it, this little shelf that I built with some 1x2s, and then mounted that to both the cabinet and to the wall to provide it with some stability. But let's take you on to a preview of what I'm looking to do with the cube system. So once again, I'm going to skip past this tank and I'm going to come back to that in a minute. But over here you'll see my breeding tank with my saltwater mollies. They're doing good. A lot of the little fry aren't around, but we got quite a few of these big guys that are doing well. They're living with the parents. You'll see that one, which is good. They nagged them a little bit, but for the most part they're doing well in here. I have about, I think I have 5 or 6 in there of the fry that have actually grown out to be decent size. And what I'm gonna do is I'm debating, which is why I didn't set the cube up. I'm debating whether I'm gonna have the cube is gonna be where this 20 long is. And let me zoom out a little bit. The cube is gonna replace this. This is a 20 long. The cube is only 20 inches wide, where the 20 long is 30 inches wide, but it's taller and wider, so I'm going to have to modify this stand to support the extra, I think about 1.5 inches where it sticks out. I want to make sure that the tank is supported, but I'm going to drill this tank and have the overflow probably run into this breeding system, and then from this it's going to go through like a pad. I may build something. I may have this tank next to this. I may have it next to this and have this tank run into the sump. So this way they're all in one system. The fish will all be at the same chemistry, and it'll look nice. It'll be a nice science experiment. I don't want to say science experiment, but a nice flow of chemistry throughout the tanks. These guys will filter feed off the smaller particles that the larger fish don't feed on, and it'll be a nice system to look at. As you know, I don't like a bunch of tanks. I've always said I don't like a bunch of tanks, so I'm trying to streamline it so it doesn't look like a bunch of tanks. It's going to look like one system. And you can see a few of the Frag come out. There's 4 of them, so maybe I have 4. I thought I had a few more, but I don't see them. But these are the big 4 anyway. And that's why I haven't set up the system yet. I'm still playing with how I want the flow to go from tank to tank. And I always believe in planning first, drawing it out, and trying to do what you can. I replaced the LED light that I had on it, that little cone LED light, the one with the remote that's still back there, with this LED that I had it sitting around. It's a better light. It covers all the tanks. The LEDs are a better spectrum for growing the plants, because you know, the Chaeto wasn't growing at all. And since I moved this, which will bring me to this tank, I brought in the water lettuce and the fry that I brought from the outside pond inside. Now these are mollies and guppies. These are freshwater fish. I kind of scared them, so they've spooked off. Hopefully they'll come back. They're really small, but I brought them inside because, as you know, it's getting cold outside, and I'm bringing them in, and I'm kind of trying to grow them out in here, and eventually they will go into the quarantine planted tank. But this LED light was much better for growing the water lettuce. As you can see, it's doing okay. I have a crap load of water lettuce outside still. Oh, I think I saw one of the fry just go by. They're so small you can barely see them. Maybe I can zoom in on them if you can see them there. There's one. Wow, finally the camera cooperated, which is a rare thing. But you can see they're cool. Oh, there's a bunch of them. Oh, you guys are in luck. They must like the camera. But I have quite a few of those guys inside, and I'm trying to keep them in the chemistry that they're used to. There was no filtration outside other than a crap load of this water lettuce, and the root growth and everything is just filtering the water out. But I do have a box filter in the back with some carbon in it, and it's doing okay. Everybody's doing all right. The water change I did yesterday seemed to get these guys a little vibrant. There's my DIY overflow in here. I'm thinking of adding a shrimp to this tank. Just a saltwater shrimp, like maybe a few peppermint shrimp or something like that. But because there's a lot of food that sits on the bottom, and I kind of manually clean it out, but the shrimp would probably do a much better job. So that's on my back burner plan, but there's no sense in adding anything to the system when I plan on taking it down and rearranging it. So on a final note, we're coming towards the cooler months. So you guys out there who have unplugged your heaters, we're at the time where the weather changes on a dime. So this may be the time to plug your heaters back in. I've powered mine back up. This is the fish bit system, which is still running this tank. It's still doing what it has to do. I'm not happy with it's not monitoring my pH or anything, but it's controlling my lights and timers and things like that. So I've turned on my heater. It's not on, but I've plugged it in so that if the temperature does drop suddenly, that the tanks don't get shocked, you know. So if you guys haven't done so, check those heaters, people. This is the time of year where you should start checking all your equipment and hardware. And I guess that's it. What else do I have going on? I'm playing around with what overflow I'm going to have for the cube before I drill it, because I have a long overflow box. I was going to get like a ghost overflow, but the problem with those ghost overflows, I like to pull water from not only the surface but from the mid-level, and those tend to just draw surface water. You can't see it in this tank because this is all built in, but I do have slits in the bottom level that pull water from the bottom area into this system and at least run it past the skimmer, something that those box surface overflows don't do. Also, when I clean the bottom with my turkey baster and I throw up a lot of any sediment that's on the ground, because this is no sand, there's no sand in here, not all of it goes to the surface of the water. So I feel when you have those surface skimming overflows, all it does is settle back down to the floor. So I'm playing around with how I want to set up that box and everything. And the tank is clean. The fish are happy. Here's my one cardinal, which is always a ham. It's always in the camera. And the coho tang is doing all right. I have my Pamini tang upstairs, which is still in quarantine. I may release him into the main system now that my sail fin has passed on. I'm trying to hold out to get another sail fin and probably add them together into the main tank, but funds are low because every time you want to do something, there's always a bill that comes up, and homie is kind of tight this month, so it is what it is. But thank you all you guys for watching. I've been in the game a long time. Somebody asked me, hey D, you go for subscribers? No, I don't look for 40,000 subscribers. I just love the hobby, bro. So when you subscribe to me, you're subscribing to a guy that just loves the hobby. Been in it, whew, I want to say more than 30 years, since I was about 6 or 7. That gives you my age, but I'm way older than 36 or 37, so been in the hobby a long time, and I shoot videos because I love the hobby. You guys have questions, I try my best to answer them rather, based on experience, what I've done, what has worked, what doesn't work. As you can see, things work, things don't work. You had a problem, had algae. Now I don't have algae. I didn't dump any chemicals in here. I didn't add any expensive equipment. Only thing I have on here is my good old poly filter pads, a protein skimmer, my Reef Octopus little nano protein skimmer, and a return pump and good old fashioned elbow grease. So I went in here, cleaned it up. My cleanup crew did the rest, and that's it. And there you go. So just a testament that you can take care of a problem if you do not panic. So with that being said, click the subscribe button. I'm going to be out. I didn't even eat breakfast, trying to get you guys out of video. So this is D. Till next time, love, peace, and hair grease. I'm out. See ya. Looked like a mad science experiment.